But we've got it all
It
sorted out now.
it's true though. It's true. It's true.
We've
When
got it sorted out.
some people just know where in the frame to put their head, and some people just don't have that natural instinct. They have to have it pointed out.
I've been
Which one
getting
of the
which
which one
one
is
is it?
us? Which one is who? Who knows?
I've been
Sorry,
getting
you
a
were
little
going.
exhausted of myself and my yeah, what is it? Is it like always having an opinion about every little thing?
Well, I definitely suffer from opinions on it. I think having opinion, but it's actually not true. There are things we don't have opinions on. You don't have opinions on. There's other things that I don't have opinions on. There are things we both share a lack of opinion on. But when you have an opinion, I think that that's good. The question is, what do we do with all of our opinions? And there are times, like one thing that I notice in particular is with my daughter
Hmm.
or with my kids in general. Like they'll be saying things, and that's where I really feel the most obvious sort of like need. Like the wise thing here to do is to not
Right.
put my opinion into the room, but it's really hard because I mean it's just some of the things they throw up. They're just like softballs philosophically, and I'm just like, oh, I could
You've
I
got
could
like
give you a real
a
good diatribe on
massive
this one.
Louisville Slugger.
Oh yeah, it's just like,
Whoa.
oh, come in, coach. It's just like it's little league. This is not for you, sir. Sir, sit down. Put the bat down.
Totally. Well, we've been doing this little community organizing effort around here, and it's just like there's not a thing that I don't have something to say. Well, we could. Well, what if we? Well, if we, and it's
I like what
exhausting
you said.
me
Just want to
about
tweak it.
myself. Yeah, because in your normal life, you set up a situation where okay, everyone sort of knows the game, the sport, and so you eventually get into some seat where you put those pieces of input into whatever frame it makes sense. When you're in a new situation, though, you do this sort of dance again of like, oh well, and it's like it's so hard for me when I spot sort of like an optimization or an idea or a way we could do it better or something to not do that. And I think some people have that talent, which I really do mean as a talent of just being able to be very zen about it and be like, everybody contributes something else, and we'll get to the end. We'll get to the. And I'm just like, well, what about this tweak? What about this tweak? Tweak, 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 tweak. No one has complained to me, but inside I'm just like, oh God, give it
Yeah,
a rest, buddy.
your internal critic is noticing a
Yeah.
tweak there. Like tweak, tweak, tweak. Perhaps, perhaps less of you. Yeah, no, I
Reel it
really can
in.
relate. Reel
Yeah.
it in. You've said too much. It is a really interesting thing. It's like, what is the goal in these things? And some people have this real insight that like the goal is that everybody is heard, everyone can express themselves, and to other people the goal is the absolute best outcome, the best path forward. And it's, I mean, I think they're clearly both talents to have an idea, to be able to have a vision. But yeah, so there must be, I think there probably is a way to, but then okay, see, here's where the potential thing could be. What if in that frame that you just want everybody to be heard, but if you want to have an opinion on everything and tweak everything, what you really actually need to be, which is hard, is to step up and say, let me be in the reduced committee that actually makes this great, which you probably don't want to be.
Right, right, right.
So it's kind of lazy to be like, let me throw out all my perfection ideas to you, and then let you guys take the perfection. But it should be perfect the
Yeah,
way,
but
it's
but
like that's not the time to
yeah,
perfect.
you take this, you own it. But maybe you want to do it this way. This way. Oh, no, go over. Yeah,
I'm not in charge here, but I will say,
you're doing it wrong. Yeah, that's true. Yep, guilty, guilty, guilty. Well, thanks a lot, Zaitza.
I am speaking to myself.
How is your project going? Are you still talking to people? Recording
I do talk to
conversations?
people. Oh, I need to. I This last week was a wash for
Oh, tell me
that.
about
I
it,
have 4 names of people that I need to reach out to, strangers, and so there is a sort of a hurdle.
Can I
where
rabbit hole for a second? I want to get back to
yeah
your project, but I was just thinking about when you said this last week was a wash. I found myself a few times. You and I work together. You may not know that. You and
I did not know that.
work together. And we had crazy week. We've had a crazy couple months and stuff. And so, but this week was crazy to an extent that I am kind of unfamiliar with, just like wall to wall crazy. And so I was dropping balls left and right, not getting back to people. And I kept finding myself saying things like, it's been such a crazy week. And I hate saying that kind of stuff. I just hate saying, oh, things have been so busy. I hate saying.
You hate it because you hate it when you hear it other people saying it.
Yeah,
and you
because
don't buy
it's just become an emptiness. It's like empty calories in conversation. Oh, so busy. It's just like I just decided a while ago I'm not going to say I'm so busy or this or that. It's just like everyone's busy, and it's everyone's business is just as important in their life as your business is. There's some element of self-importance that I don't like about being like, it's so busy, where it's just like everyone's running hard on their own track, And so just like, it's been full, you could say, I don't know, this is nuance for me. This is my own pathology or whatever it is. But like, I hate saying things have been super busy, but there was kind of no other explanation for this past week besides just like, oh my God, I'm slammed beyond belief. And it's going to get better, I think. We wrapped up that project yesterday. I think it'll get better now, but maybe I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, what do you think about this phenomenon of being like, is there, I guess I was going to say, how do you get around saying you're so busy? But now I guess as it's coming out, I'm thinking maybe the answer is just by saying it's been so busy. Do you say things have been incredibly busy lately?
Well, I don't. Yeah, I guess maybe, or maybe what I just said was this week was a wash. Maybe. Well, it's different. I feel like it's slightly different.
You're just like all I said was this week was a wash, and then you.
No, I guess I'm wondering if there's a nuance.
It is different. No, well, I appreciate it. That's what made me think of it and give that 5-minute speech was just like, it was so much nicer that you're like, oh, this week was a wash, because it didn't have that ring of self-importance of, I was so in demand this week.
Well, it's interesting you say self-importance, because that's not what I usually put on. I was thinking about this when I was so I had a doctor's appointment. My daughter had a doctor's appointment this morning, and it's kind of a far
flung.
It was far,
and it was flung.
So
far.
So we're driving, and I'm just noticing like how different people drive, and trying to get her back to school, and I was on a bit of a rush, and I was thinking how, sometimes I'm not in a rush, and sometimes you're in a rush and you think to yourself, okay, in a perfect system, somebody who's in a rush, you could be like, go ahead. But the problem is, as soon as people get in the habit of rushing, and then they're just like always, and so then the people who who should get the sort of like, okay, you're late to school or late to work or whatever, get slowed down because everybody just like, I need to reduce my travel time by 15%.
Right.
Just
it's the way the left lane is supposed to work. If you need it, go ahead in the left lane. I don't need it today. But instead, people are like, I'm the left lane guy.
Yeah, exactly. I go 12 miles an hour over the speed limit because then I can reduce by 3, and then I can weasel my way out of a ticket if I get one.
Right.
So it just sort of, I think it's true. Like sometimes you are slammed, but I don't know. And sometimes people are always slammed. I was talking to another friend about this who is just not slammed. And I sort of was like, how do you do it? And he says, there's a lot of hard work of telling myself that, of not to buy into this sort of like, what else can I do to get ahead and keep up and blah, blah, blah. And who knows how it's going to work out for him in the long run. I mean, he's already, a professional person for decades. So maybe you could say already it's working, but it's interesting how he was saying that it was really hard work for him to control the impulses to what other people would call hard work. See what I did there?
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for pushing through as I was sneezing. I did find the
You
mute
did.
button.
You did. That was well done.
Thank you.
But you know what I mean? So it's just
Totally.
like, it's like being in that habit
Right.
of getting in the left lane and being like, God, do I really need to be in the left lane right now? Can I actually just have a leisurely drive? I
Right.
feel like most people just don't do that. If they're used to speeding, they just don't. And this is the same with work.
Well, yeah, and you also said like that your friend, I like that, so hard work telling himself like not to just constantly be trying to get ahead, but like, I just this week should have muted that one. This week, my daughter made the competitive softball team. Nice job, kiddo. And she's a little bit younger for the team, but she still made it. Nice job, kiddo.
Nice.
I like how that looks. Ooh. This one is trapped by the mic stand. Boom. Boom. Two thumbs up.
It's good to like, wham. No. Wham. No, it's too close. Damn. No. That was all right. Damn. Yeah. It's right there.
Yeah. It was too
aim.
close. That looks like someone else's arm. Sid, get out of the picture. So she made the team, and then I really enjoy coaching softball. I enjoy it and I don't. It's torturous and wonderful but really fun, and I think I'm good at it. Sometimes I think I'm not, but I think mostly I'm good at it. And I notice and appreciate other people who are good coaches, and I take stuff from them. Anyway, so they invited me to be one of the parent coach on the competitive team. And like, I really like the idea. It sounds fun. And I just am like, I need to find spots to just get time back. And that's a major commitment. So I said no last night, but I've been feeling crappy about it ever since, because it's fun and it's quality time with my daughter, but it's such a huge amount of hours, so I said no. But so I think I'm like defending my time there and my future sanity by getting all those hours back. But I also don't feel a little unsure whether that was a bad call, because that was like, that's the kind of thing to be prioritized.
This is the existential crisis of which Kierkegaard and Sartre spoke of.
Really?
Which is what are we supposed to do?
Softball players.
What are we supposed to do? What are we here for? And like, how do we know? Because you don't actually get hours back, right? I mean, those hours come and go, and what do you do with them? And knowing what to do with your hours is the existential crisis. That is what is that is, I mean, I feel like I'm sounding pedantic right now, and I probably do, but I don't mean it that way. I'm saying it because I'm so struck by it for myself, like what a huge constant. And when I heard about the sort of like the the definition of existentialism and what that's all about.
Sure.
No,
I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I never know, like, but yeah, to some people it's like, this is old news, and some people they never heard of it. But when I heard it, I was just like, oh, that explains exactly my angst, which I think actually was the word that was invented to define this very same thing, which is this idea that is ultimately what it comes down to is, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? And not knowing. That's the crisis of being human, is that there's no way to really know for sure what you're supposed to be doing with your time. And that's the challenge that faces every human every day. We sort of like, whether or not we have free will, it's like we still are presented with these choices, like, do I coach this softball team or not? And then somehow you're asked, like, and it's the fact is that it's an impossible question. And that's the total cause of all of my problems. Well, all of my torment.
You went really broad and deep with that one. That was, that's good. I mean, it's sort of comforting in a way. It's sort of soothing, because I just thought I was like trying to weigh a decision about coaching softball, but it turns out it goes back to Sartre.
Further.
Even farther than before
any it goes back to Adam and Eve.
Fred Sartre. I rabbit holed you way back when I rudely asked you about your project, and then I just took it back and went a whole different direction. So now I humbly come in apology and say, yeah, your project, you said the week has been a wash.
Oh yeah, and so I haven't talked to anybody. Reaching out to strangers. I need to reach out to strangers. That's not
hurdle.
It's not easy for me.
So is that easy? That's harder than reaching out to a friend? Because that's not a given, I don't think.
Yeah. Much harder to reach out to a stranger and say, because then going back to Sartre. No, but like, who am I? Like, that's when I introduce myself. It's like, how much do I have to say? Like, would you like to talk to me? And by the way, who I am is, I don't know. Is this serious? I don't know if it's even a good idea. Maybe don't waste your time.
It's a great. So I'm facing exactly that. Like, who do I reach out to, and like, how much of myself do I have to have proven by the time I reach out?
Right.
Right. But I sort of think if we picture someone else asking us, they're just starting out. I'm going to put together this thing. I don't think I'd have a very high bar to be like, sure.
Yeah. No, I think, and people love talking about this stuff. I mean, you don't go into backyard gardening seriously if you're not geeking out about it. If you don't have things to say. Right. This is a conversation that people will want to have.
They're like, again? Gotta get so many requests.
People always asking me what I know about gardening techniques. This is like, no, let me tell you.
I've been waiting for someone to ask. I was thinking about that the other day, actually, like how great it would be to have someone that just came in to like profile you. You know what it was? I saw some random article about that was supposed to be the word article about a documentary that someone did on someone, and I just remember thinking that the someone didn't sound that remarkable, and she just happened to know so and so through her brother, or she met so and so through her brother. She thought his story was interesting and did this documentary on him. And just by the sound of it, I can't remember what it was, winemaker or something. I was sort of like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. What if someone just profiled you and tried to get to the essence of you? I was like, how great would that be to have someone who's so interested in all the nuance, because it's sort of like, I'm interested in all the like pieces of like what are building up, what are going somewhere. I think there's an interesting story, but like, it just sounds really
about yourself. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
It's funny. No one's ever particularly cared enough to be like, okay, well, let me understand this side of you, and that's okay. And what was this influence and that influence? And it just sounds like therapeutic in a nice way to have someone come be that interested. It's like, especially in sort of creative endeavors, you're sort of trying to get other people interested in these little things that you do, these outputs. You've got bellows, and you're trying to like get the world to give a crap, and it'd be so great to have someone be like, I'm so interested, give me more.
Well, I mean, it's like I feel like we get an assignment in a way, like when we're growing up, we get interested in things and we start studying them, and it's like it's not like an assignment from any person, but from ourselves. We're like, I gotta figure out more about this thing, and we go and we study, and then we're like, oh, but that's related to this thing. Let me find out more about that, and we look about this, we gathering all kinds of really good information and insights and other people's brilliant stuff that you're gaining this. You're basically creating this body of knowledge around your interests, and it's kind of sad. So many people, it's almost like, okay, I've got all my research materials. When do I present my thesis? It's like
tumbleweeds.
I found out some really interesting stuff here. Come on, people. Okay, gather around. I think you're gonna want to hear this. It's hard earned.
Which stage am I on? Which
well, should I look at this camera or this camera?
Nobody. Is that camera on? Here? There's no light. Should it be a blinking light? No, just present to this. It looks like a mason jar. You sure this is a camera?
This is basically what we're doing here.
Yeah.
We set up cameras in our own houses. We were like, someone's gonna want to hear this, and then we start talking. It's just like, okay, no one yet.
Keep at it. I'm sure it'll happen.
I'm sure something'll come up.
Not for the first 40 shows, but starting with 41.
I think yeah. At what point does it become interesting to somebody else?
I think, well, just speaking of 40 shows, happy anniversary. I think it's kind of cool because I think it's just fun. Like, it's not, I mean, you could make someone could be like, ROI, there's an ROI argument. Why are you guys still investing in this? But I think we're investing it because it's fun. And I would just keep doing it because it's fun. And I think we get some cool artifacts out of it. We get some cool.
Oh yeah, totally. And also, it's like, it's funny, that email that we got an email the other day that you forwarded to me, somebody about saying that they were really appreciating our writings.
Oh yeah.
And it was sort of just like, it was like, oh, I sort of feel like we put them in and no one actually reads them.
Yeah. Well, that's also interesting because we're getting more of that now. I forwarded that one, but there's been a few conversations I've had where that kind of stuff has come up, but it feels like it's been on a years-long burn. And it's probably what I'm sure people say this, was just like somehow it just builds up after years.
Yeah. And that's, I think, it was something like this. There's a... Well, I guess what I was going to say is the fact that it's fun, because people always used to say that to me when I would get frustrated about music, about like, just do it for fun and who cares? And there's something about, I mean, I have played probably only two... Did it happen 3 times? I know 2. I know 2 times with a band, I played to 2 or less people in the audience. Is that true? No. That one of the times that was 5. There was 5 there, but it was it was one of the best.
It's better when you say 2
venues. 2, definitely. There was one. There was 2. There was one time it was 2, and it probably okay. But so that hurts. It hurts to prepare for a show and go and load up into the club, and then you set
all the
up
equipment,
and all the equipment and the sound guy, and then there's just like 2 people show up. It's really painful, and you hear about that from bands all the time. It's like you gotta play to nobody sometimes, and it just happens, and it's really painful. But it's interesting. This playing for nobody is still fun, and that is something. And that's sort of like gives me, in terms of sustainability, because if you put together a show and just like week after week, no one's showing up, or 2 people are showing up, or 5 people are showing up, you sort of say, let's not do that anymore. With this is too painful. I'm not gonna drag my stuff in the car, and the pain is too much. It's not worth it. So that's not sustainable. But it's interesting because you do need to do things hundreds of times before you get good.
Well, so what's the differences here are, 1, there's no amps to drag in and set up.
No, that's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Big deal. And then second is we're not actually seeing the lack of audience.
Yeah.
We don't have to face the humiliation. Or it's like abstracted. The humiliation is abstracted. It's there, but it's abstracted a step or 2.
Well, the humiliation is maybe the direct humiliation you get at a show is the sound guy. The sound guy who's going, oh God, should I even bother checking the mics, buddy? You really think someone's gonna come?
They're like, why are they still playing? Well, I was gonna say, I thought you were headed for a story that said, you said it hurts, but then I thought you were gonna say, but those were the best shows we ever had because we were just playing for ourselves like it was a rehearsal. That's not what you were just saying that it was terrible.
It was terrible. And my point was, this is so much less terrible.
What's even worse about the 2 people showing up is you can't phone it in either. Yeah, you can't phone it. You actually still have to perform.
And hide your shame.
It's not unrelated. This is way less glamorous, but it's not unrelated to being like speaking at a conference, especially nowadays when you have, or even back in the days when conferences were more frequently in person. You do a whole bunch of prep, you get your slide deck and everything, and then just like super low turnout. And you're like, and you still got to deliver it. If 0 people showed up, you could just be like, well, oh well.
We're gonna pack it up. Yeah. To the sound guy. It's always the sound guy
I
sitting
wonder
around
if
going,
if 0 people showed up. I wonder if the band still plays.
"Hey, you want to hear this? we set up."
Oh, painful. Yeah, painful. Are you? No, you're not playing. You're not playing these days.
I really
shows.
want to. I really.
You were
I
playing
don't know.
shows so
I've
consistently.
I've got a weird. I've got like a scheduling block. I don't know how to just sort of. Part of the problem is that my last several shows have included at
Lots of
least
people.
3 or 4 guests.
Yeah.
And like people doing different things with me, and I really like that format. And since I had COVID in February, it's just been really weird getting together with people, and I haven't.
Right.
But last night actually, a few people came over and we worked on some songs, and they're just coming together. So I think
Nice.
maybe that was the block that
Nice.
I didn't
And
know
also
whether I
you
wanted
can-
to do a solo show.
You can Anna Fogues that kind of thing. You can just be like, I'd love
That's
to.
on my list, and she's just like, okay, we're just gonna, and then, but okay, our first meeting will be in 3 months, and I was like, no, okay, I'll hold.
Why
She
3
came
months?
in. What? No, just kidding. It's in 2 weeks because of scheduling, whatever. So it was 3 weeks from our first meeting.
That's
And she's like,
hilarious.
we're not talking about anything in this first meeting. We're just sort of like, I'm just going to tell you how it's going to work, and then we'll schedule our first meeting for.
But why?
3 weeks
That's
from now.
even better. That's so pro.
It could be. It could be. Oh
That's
yeah,
so
for her,
pro.
it's totally pro. Yeah. But it got me excited about like, oh, this is going to be really helpful.
Yeah.
And now
so
I'm
funny.
sort of like waiting. For
We should
like
learn
a
from
little
that
bit.
because it makes you just want it even more. All right, it's going to be like this. We're going to knock down this hurdle, this hurdle, this hurdle. Can't start till September. It's like, oh, okay. Come on, September.
Yeah.
Oh, good, man. Well, good.
So good. Nice. All right then.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to ask you about, this week was a wash, of course.
week was a wash.
But you
Oh,
did say that you set up your studio, and
I did, and I've got Patrick scheduled for today, and to come do a pilot recording podcast here in this little studio, and I had kind of got it set up last Saturday or Sunday. We were going to do it, and then we had to reschedule for today, and then we had that exhausting week, which was just a wash. I just casually say it was a wash. I had that week. It was a wash. No biggie. I just like didn't.
It's funny to think that if somebody says something, they might actually be imitating somebody else saying it in the opposite way that they want to say it.
Yeah.
Like, how many times that somebody says something to you, are they actually expressing the opposite emotion of what they want to say because they're self-recriminating and then imitating somebody who did it differently?
Totally. It was a wash. And so inside you're going, I got killed this week. It was a wash.
And sometimes you really do. And everybody's ruined it by making people busy all the time. We've ruined it for the times where you actually have some sort of like extra busyness.
Right. Business.
Business. Did anybody ever put that together before?
So I texted him this morning. Yeah. Ooh, pop guard. Yeah, that's a good sound effect. I texted him this morning, and it was a little bit of chicken because I didn't feel ready. I didn't get the new equipment I was gonna get and whatever. And so I was like, oh, what a week. You still up for today? Or you want to reschedule? Like, I gave him the out, and he was like, no, I'm up for it. And so then, but he's like, no pressure if you want to postpone. So I was just like, no, let's do it. And I was proud of myself for that moment because just the exhaustion in me is like, oh, let me get more ready. But I just feel like it's set up for today. I have enough to do it, and I got to just bite the bullet and do it. Because if it's in that realm of postpone, reschedule, then it keeps never happening. And it's just got to, do the first step, take the first step. So that'll happen today, 2 p.m. Pacific. Tune in. There's nothing to tune into, but I'll record.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. That's exciting.
Thanks,
Be
man.
awesome.
Yes, indeed. Let's find this button that we used to finish. All right. Well, look, we're coming right in at 30 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
All right. And broadcast.
And broadcast.